Well, let's move on now to a film that's set here in Paris with a very talented cast. It's called My Old Lady, and it's about some interesting real estate customs that are unique in France. I was quite surprised when I first found out about this thing called viager.
Viager, yes, the story absolutely spins around this concept, which the playwright himself, Israel Horovitz, when he first heard about it, thought was incredibly inhumane, because you are actually betting on somebody dying sooner rather than later. And the way it works is you pay less than market value for a piece of property, but the previous owner gets to stay in it, and you pay them a stipend to live on every month until they die. The most famous case being, of course, Jean Calment, who didn't die until she was 122, and the man who bought her apartment when she was 90 thought he was making a great deal. Indeed, he was not.
It's quite strange. So you go and see them and you're like, oh, are you feeling all right? Any cancer or anything? Well, anyway, so it's the first film directed by the American playwright Israel Horovitz. He took up film directing at the age of 75.
Yes, he's written 70 plays, and almost 50 of them have been translated into French and played in various French-speaking countries. That makes him the most popular American playwright in the French-speaking world. None of that would matter if he'd done a rotten job with this film, but in fact, he's pulled it off very, very nicely. I had the privilege of speaking to him here in Paris just the other day, and here's what he had to say.
Hello? Bonjour. Hello? Oh, God.
I think it would be better if you spoke in English.
I inherited this apartment from my father. A guy like that in the middle of Paris must be worth a fortune.
When I was in my 60s when I wrote the play My Old Lady, at that point I had more than 50 of my plays translated and performed in France. Some of them are short plays, of course, but it's a lot. And for the son of a truck driver from a little town in Massachusetts, it's un saut de miracle. It's a kind of miracle. And so I wanted to write a play that was kind of a love letter to France, thanking France for giving me this miraculous French life that I got.
This apartment is a viager. The buyer must pay a fee until the seller dies.
Until you die?
Until I die.
What I inherited was a 2,400 euro a month debt. I used the last cent that I had to get here.
On my first day in Paris, my late wife and I were kids. We were 20-year-olds. And we were walking around all the expected American places. At Café de Magot, I spot Simone de Beauvoir. And she's alone, smoking cigarettes, drinking coffee. And I smile at her, and she looks up, and she sees me, and I was a cute 20-year-old boy. And she smiles back, and I smile back, and I hear my wife say, "You're flirting with Simone de Beauvoir." And I thought, oh, I like this place.
French woman can live a long time.
It's the red wine, isn't it?
This is Chloe, my daughter. She lives here.
Directing Kevin Kline, Maggie Smith, and Kristen Scott Thomas is like telling the sun to give light. It kind of knows that already. So, and as I was a first-time director at age 74 or 75 when I shot, I can remember just before we started shooting, thinking, oh my God, they deserve a better director than me. They deserve a real director. What am I doing? But I had all these negative thoughts. And then we got into the rehearsal room, and I realized every single actor in the movie comes from theater, like I do.
Do you want my mother to outlive you?
Take a walk by the Seine. Please don't jump in. You'll probably fail to drown yourself and just end up with a dreadful cold.
It's very interesting. It was a play, now it's a movie. Does it work?
Oh, it absolutely works because, first of all, what's left over from the play is the very sharp dialogue, which this group of actors has a wonderful time delivering. And he actually was the beneficiary of an exchange program between France and the U.S. for screenplays that will involve shooting in France. And so he was able to open up the story, because on stage you have to suggest Paris with scenery and props and things. But here he was able to actually use the locations, and he did that very well. Maggie Smith's character is old enough to have had a fling with Django Reinhardt, but one of the big problems in the movie is that she also had a long-running relationship with somebody she really shouldn't have.
So it's definitely worth seeing.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's very charming, and it's about family, and it's about love. You know, people in movies are forever following their bliss and going off with whoever they want to be with. And this movie is suggesting that there might be repercussions to that, that when you fall in love with somebody, maybe you're causing problems for somebody else. Think it through and try not to damage your children, if at all possible.